Welcome, everybody, to Dynasty Kings podcast. We are in for the last mock draft Monday of 2024, and I'm your host, Austin.
And I'm Jared.
And we are getting right into it with the most... See, I don't want to say most accurate because that's a scary thing to say. This is our final mock draft.
Yes.
This is what we think is going to happen. Instead of kind of switching off picks and kind of bouncing ideas off one another, we spent an hour beforehand trying to figure this out, and I think it's still loading. Yep. So we're doing it again from scratch. So, not the old format that we did the last week, but either way, we kind of have a really general idea of where we're going. I hope that we remember everything, but, we'll try. And starting off, very easy choice, Caleb Williams going to the Bears. We've talked about this a lot. I don't really have anything special to say about that. How about you?
No. I mean, it's done. It's a done deal.
Yeah, I feel like that's very, very solid. And this second pick now, we're starting to... we're in draft week. People are starting to say things. I'm still pretty confident Jaden Daniels is going to be a Washington Commander come draft day, and that's kind of what we decided on as well, with a little bit of shakeup.
I think it's Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
But, dude, like you said, bro, the draft week, you hear a bunch of stuff. Yep. But we've been on the Jaden Daniels number 2 wave.
And I think it's too late to trade that now. But speaking of trades, we have Drake May at the, was it 3rd and the 5th? Okay.
Yep. You didn't forget that.
I did not forget. So we have Drake May on the board here at 3, and we have the Vikings coming up to get him. Really aggressive move.
Yeah.
I think this blueprint has kind of been shown when we were discussing it, like them acquiring that extra first. It just kind of makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, you're showing your hand pretty much. Like, they're going to trade up for a quarterback. It's a cute idea to think, maybe they take quarterback at 11 or 23, but like if your guy's on the board at 3, I think if Drake May goes at 2, then things could get spicy and we could see the Vikings maybe staying. But I think if Jaden Daniels goes at number 2, which is what we're projecting, then I definitely think that the Vikings try and do whatever it takes to get Drake May.
100%. I think this hinges on whether or not the Patriots are interested in Drake May or not, and we've heard mixed reviews on that. Obviously, they're not going to tell us. But it's a new regime, so we don't really know what kind of quarterbacks they're looking for. But in this particular mock, we have them passing on Drake May, getting a ton of draft capital. Yeah. And Drake May, you are a Viking, and I think the Viking fans are going to be happy about this one. I like Drake May is a much more surefire prospect than J.J. McCarthy personally.
Yeah,
as surefire as a prospect gets, this is a guessing game.
I think he has a way higher ceiling as an individual player.
I think that's a fair way to put it.
For sure, he has a higher ceiling. So I think JJ, he does a pretty safe floor though. I think he has a safer floor than May. I think that's my take.
That's fair.
But then Drake May definitely has a higher ceiling. Yeah. So I think that they shoot for the stars here. I mean, they have the receivers around him. They're kind of just a quarterback away. They still have a couple more pieces that they need on the defense. And I don't know if TJ Hawkinson's going to start, week 1. But they are ready to compete. Kirk Cousins, if Kirk Cousins had actually played this year, I think that they actually make it to the playoffs and look pretty good in the playoffs as well.
Exactly. And so I think all they can hope for is a nice, building year. They got their quarterback on their rookie contract. Build the rest of the team and their image and kind of go from there. And then on to the 4th pick. We didn't get too cute here. Yeah. Cardinals have Kyler Murray locked up. They need a wide receiver. They've kind of been struggling with that position ever since DeAndre Hopkins left the building.
Yeah.
So we're bringing Marvin Harrison Jr. straight to the Arizona Cardinals, and I think the fans are going to be happy about this one in general.
The only way I think this doesn't happen is if the top 3 teams all don't trade. They take quarterbacks, and the Vikings or the Giants or the Broncos or maybe even the Raiders, I doubt it, they get desperate and they really are high on J.J. McCarthy and they trade for 4. But in this situation, the Vikings already traded up, and I think they're the team that's most likely to trade up for a quarterback. Right. So they already did it in this one. I don't think the Patriots would trade back up for J.J. I think the Cardinals are just nope, we're going to stick here. We're going to pick Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yep, and I think you got to be happy getting a position of need, one of the top prospects in maybe ever.
Yeah, especially at the receiver position. 4.
Yeah. They won that game that kind of knocked them out of this. So, getting who you want there at 4, I think is huge for Cardinals fans. And then keeping the trend of wide receivers up, we got the Chargers selecting Malik Neighbors. And this one we were debating this one because it's a possibility they could go Joe Alt. It's possible they could go Brock Bowers to kind of get the pass-catching, run-blocking duo there.
Yeah.
But in the end, we think that getting a field-stretching wide receiver for Justin Herbert's going to be important. Malik Neighbors is a really, really good prospect as well. Like if Marvin Harrison Jr. didn't exist, Malik Neighbors would be the top prospect and not even really close. But
Yeah.
it's kind of funny how they are, and I think MHJ is like a level above him. But I think Malik Neighbors is a great wide receiver, and I think the Chargers are going to be really happy to get this after losing both of their starting wide receivers in the offseason.
Yeah, I agree. Like, we spent so much time on this.
We did. This was one of the longest ones, and
Yeah.
the Chargers could easily trade back here as well if they're getting offers from people who want JJ or maybe another prospect.
Yeah, but in this one, we're sticking and picking. Yeah, like, Jim Harbaugh doesn't, like, super appreciate the wide receiver, like, position, I would say. But, like, when Malik Neighbors is on the board, like, how can you pass on a guy like this, especially when you need wide receiver as badly as the Chargers do? So I like the pick here.
Yeah. And then on to the Giants. We also were debating our J.J. McCarthy landing spot.
Yeah.
But I think that if the board kind of lays out this way, this makes a lot of sense. We got the Giants at number 6 picking J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy, but they can get out of the Daniel Jones contract next year.
Yep.
And who knows if he's even going to be ready to play, bro.
Right.
Like, we were looking at his injury history as well. Coming off that ACL tear, and right before then, the bad concussion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and
Neck
some neck
stuff.
injuries.
Mhm.
Like,
Big.
it's you
Intense
made a mistake.
injuries.
You made a mistake with the contract. You pick number 6 here. JJ McCarthy's on the board. Just do it. Just do it, man. Like, it just makes sense to me.
I think it makes sense as well. I could also see them grabbing a pass catcher here, and we did have that debate.
We
whether
did.
Maybe
We did
Roma
have that
Dunze
debate.
goes here, and we have 3 straight quarterbacks, 3 straight wide receivers, and it's definitely possible.
Yeah.
But I do. It makes sense. You know, their GM wants to put a stamp on the franchise, wants to get their guy in there, and if they're high on JJ McCarthy, they get him in. He shows some flashes. They might be able to buy themselves a couple more years there in the NFL. In the end, you're just trying to kind of get your contracts renewed and keep getting good players in the league and or on your team, excuse me. But yeah, I mean, I agree. Daniel Jones is falling apart physically, and his game, you know, has plateaued and fallen down since that peak he had kind of 2 years ago. So they grabbed their successor, and now the kind of tier 1 quarterbacks are off the board.
Yeah.
So with that said, we have
I don't know. I don't know if
Maybe.
you can really say tier 1.
Maybe.
I think Caleb is just tier
Yeah.
1.
I think Caleb's almost like tier 0, dude. Like he's like Andrew Luck, Trevor Lawrence level kind of quarterback.
Like generational type
Yeah,
quarterback.
yeah.
Yeah. I agree. That's what I'm saying. Like, saying JJ McCarthy's tier 1 is like kind of crazy.
Right.
But like, you know, like,
yeah, that's what I mean.
like locks for first round quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
And then, like I said,
Unless JJ like
unless-
falls to the second, that'd be crazy.
Yeah,
though.
yeah. If we get another Will Levis situation, I feel like no matter what, he's going in the first. But
I
I could
agree.
easily see him going in like the 20s.
Falling out of the tens. Yeah.
So anyway, we got Joe Alt going to the Titans here at 7. They just need a tackle. They need it so bad.
A left tackle especially.
And he is the best prospect at this particular position. So I think it's a slam dunk, and I think they're super happy that this is kind of how it ended up falling for him.
Yeah, we don't even have to talk about this. Everyone knows about that.
Yeah.
If Joe Alt's there, they take him. But we were also considering the fact that what if Joe Alt's not there? What if he's gone at 5? I think they just stay and pick Olu. I think they still just need the best left tackle available. But
Yeah.
potential
They might
trade
trade
back
back.
situation
Yeah.
if Joe Alt's not on the board. So
Yeah.
look out for that.
And I'd be curious to see who would be trying to move up ahead of
That would
the
be so
Falcons and Bears and
spicy.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
so, you know, it would be interesting. Yeah, if Joe Alt goes to the Chargers, it changes everything.
Yeah, the whole draft is just a
Yeah, and
mess.
that's the beauty of the mocks. It really is
Yeah.
so fun how much, like, one pick will just, like, make a total cascading effect because these people don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, with that said, we have another one. We've kind of gone back and forth, I think, with the Falcons a little bit, but this
For
seems
sure.
really solid to me at this point. The Falcons, like, really, really, really need defense. And Dallas Turner, I think, is going to be an excellent edge prospect. Jared, you said that you kind of recently became a little bit higher on him than you were as well.
Yeah, for sure. I was looking at a bunch of edge film, and I think that he's just like when we were talking about tiers, he's tier 1, and it's just him. Like Caleb Williams is different because he's like a generational type of player. I don't know if Dallas Turner, I would say he's generational. I wouldn't say that at all. But I think he's definitely in a tier above all the other edge rushers in this class.
Yeah.
For sure.
And you think he's just the best defensive player available, period, as well.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
I think so too, and I'm really high on Quentin Mitchell, but I think that Dallas Turner is just the production, the athletic traits. I mean, he's just a dog, and so I think that him going to the Falcons is going to be a great fit for him.
I think Raheem Morris would love him too.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
That's the
and
big thing.
that makes it, getting a new regime, defensive somebody to hit the regime. They want to get their guy kind of similar to Will Anderson last year,
Yeah.
who was going to, hallmark that defense.
Yeah.
And so, on to the Bears. And I think they're going to be really happy with the way that this board fell. We had them grabbing Roma Dunze.
Yeah. I was like, what did we do here?
Yeah.
Man? But yeah.
Yeah, we need to get a trio of pass catchers, including Cole Kmet, to kind of work the middle. Now you got a freaking explosive offense.
DeAndre Swift.
And, they did some work on the O-line. We're assuming Caleb Williams is going to be good, which I hope so. There is a huge chance that he busts, but his arm talent's just crazy. And Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze. That's a nice trio of receivers. DJ Moore is a little on the younger side too, as well. So they can keep him around for a little bit. Yeah.
The thing that I was going to say though is that Keenan Allen is still on like a 1-year deal, pretty much. So
he's not locked into them.
Exactly. So Rome could really be your long-term plan, where Keenan can really just help Caleb's development his rookie season. So and they can just re-sign him
and help Rome too as well.
Yeah.
Imagine just like probably a Hall of Fame wide receiver helping you out with your routes. That seems pretty sick. Is Keenan Hall of Fame? He's on the edge for you. He's on the edge for you. We'll talk more about that later.
That's a debate.
This is another one similar to pick 7 that we had often. Brock Bowers headed to the Jets. This makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
They need a pass catcher. They need a tight end. And I'm just loving the thought of Aaron Rodgers in fantasy with a vertical tight end like Brock Bowers.
Yeah, it's just like their biggest need. Their win now. Yeah. Brock Bowers is like probably the best win now player in the entire. That's still available, I should say.
Yeah, 100%. As far as it's still available. But I agree. Just like really clean, really productive.
He won the Biletnikoff. He's the only player to win the Biletnikoff twice, I'm pretty sure. Like best tight end in college football.
I didn't
won
know
it
that.
2 years back to back.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
No, he's fantastic, and his ceiling is just through the roof. So I think they'd be really happy with this pick, and then kind of going into the second day, maybe trying to find a backup tackle.
Yeah, for sure.
And then what the hell did we have the Patriots doing? I don't remember at all. Tackle. Okay. Which makes a lot of sense. When we were looking at their team, their left tackle's rough.
Yeah, it's
really, really rough.
It has to be Olu.
And the right tackle's rough, too.
Yeah, they could go double tackle.
Yeah.
They're one of those teams. And then they also, obviously, need a quarterback at some point, but we don't have it going right now.
Yep.
And then they need wide receiver, edge. They need a lot.
Exactly.
So that's why we have them trading down in the first place.
And exactly. And so that makes sense. So here they're accruing extra picks. They're getting a tackle to help build their O-line. I think that's a great move.
Yeah.
And then we had the Broncos trading with the Jaguars.
That's right. Yep.
I do not remember what the comp was.
I think that's fair.
That looks right.
A third. It's the last pick in the third round.
5.
I think it was 116 instead of 114. Because we let them keep that little sneaky snipe just in case. I think it's still fair.
I can't remember. This seems fine though.
That's
third. This is the bulk. Or I'm pointing the screen. 17 and 96 is the bulk of the trade. The rest of it's kind of just like whatever. But I feel like the Broncos just need draft picks.
I feel like a third and a fourth to move back 5 picks is fair.
Right.
It's
fine.
And it's a player that they could have drafted too.
Right. So and then this is a debate that we had. We wanted to not go too crazy with the trades.
Yeah.
If we find time, maybe we'll do a crazy one with trades, like before or something. I don't know.
Every team trades.
Yeah, would be crazy. I think the Jaguars are going to move up and grab the best cornerback prospect of the draft, Quinion Mitchell. Huge need for them, as far as just like straight up fits go. I think that is just an excellent one, and he will definitely not be available at 17. Yeah. So if they want to give up some of that capital and get their secondary rocking, that makes sense. The only maybe thing blocking this trade from happening is that the Jaguars are not like one piece away, in my opinion. I don't really think they're one cornerback away from being like a high level playoff team.
I don't know, man.
They could be, and Quinion Mitchell's amazing, so it could be that big of a difference.
I think it would be a pretty big difference, and I think that we wanted to do just at least one spicy trade, because imagine we get the spicy trade right, that would look cool. So this is the one spicy trade we really did.
We'll see.
That makes a ton of sense too, because they definitely have to. If they want Quinion Mitchell, they definitely have to trade above the Colts. At 15.
Yes.
And I think that if Quinion Mitchell's there at 13, I think the Raiders would probably take him.
Yes.
So I think that they have to go even higher, and I think that this is the perfect spot. And the Broncos are happy because now the Raiders don't have a division rival, doesn't get their top guy on the board.
Yeah.
So I think it makes a ton of sense for both teams, and the Broncos pick up some extra picks to fill out their pretty horrible roster. So
Yeah.
with the Raiders
They need
here,
help.
I think they pivot from corner because, like, I think we both have Quinyon Mitchell as just cornerback one
Yes.
in a tier of his own.
Yeah, 100%.
So-
and you know me, I love me some Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
I've said it a million times, but
Yeah.
Quay Mitchell's, I saw him basically win a game by himself one
Yeah.
time, so I was like, okay, this guy is crazy.
Which, hey man, how can you say that about the Jags and them not being good in the play or not being a player away, but then they get Quinyon Mitchell, a guy that wins games by himself?
Right.
I can see it, bro.
No, I think that it definitely makes a ton of sense for sure.
Yeah.
But like I said, losing the third and the fourth, scary.
It is kind of a
It's
lot.
scary.
But
Uh,
yeah.
They're grabbing a absolute premium prospect here, and the Raiders are going to help bolster their O-line.
Yeah.
We were taking a look at their O-line, and it's Colton Miller as their left tackle, right?
Yeah, he's pretty good.
And he was solid. I do remember, hearing his name whenever they forced us to watch those primetime games, and he was doing fine. So we think they need a right tackle, and we got Talise Fuaga heading over to him.
There we go.
Yeah, and I think that makes a ton of sense. That really helps bolster both sides of the tackle, and they might be making another move later on as well.
Yeah, they just might.
This is also a deep corner class, so they can probably grab one in the second round. But I could also see them maybe just sticking hard nose with the corner with a defensive-minded head coach now and grabbing Terry and Arnold there.
Yeah.
As far as the Saints go, I think that they're 1,000% grabbing a tackle here. Who do we have them grabbing
JC.
again? It was JC, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's left tackle.
Right tackle.
Right tackle.
But they need both. Ryan
they
Ramczyk
do
is the
need
one that's
both.
not playing.
Right. But yeah.
Or probably not playing. We
Right.
don't know.
Yeah, it's JC for sure. And that makes sense. Like I feel like as far as I don't know who they're grabbing, but I think the Saints grabbing a tackle is the safest bet in the draft.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Bears grabbing a quarterback, but
Okay.
Bears command,
Yeah.
outside of the really really obvious ones, I think that's about as close to locked in as you could get.
Yeah, it just depends on which one it is.
Yeah,
And I think JC Latham makes a ton of sense.
Yeah,
So.
I think so too. As a right tackle.
Yeah.
Anyway, onto the Colts. We think that they're definitely grabbing a defensive back. We've had them grabbing a multitude of. I think we had them grabbing 3 different corners.
It's either Brian Thomas or a corner.
Yes, and I could definitely see
Yeah.
them grabbing. It's crazy how far he fell in this.
I
feel like I think that's definitely an oversight that we had again. As far as Brian Thomas
he
goes,
always
but-
falls at our mocks. Bro.
Right, and I'm
Because
not
he's
sure.
so low on
But I
PFF.
feel like what's going to happen is someone is going to trade up for him in the 18 to 22 range rather than him going to where we
I
actually
think
have
you
him
go
going.
right here.
But yeah, that would make sense. But I think in general the Colts need more help in the secondary. They have a pretty rough time as far as their number 2 corner goes. If Juju Brents ends up being a great player, then they have 3 all of a sudden, but their safeties are kind of suspect. So we were leaning
Yeah.
more towards Cooper DeJean because he can play kind of maybe some exotic packages for them, and I actually think that makes their defense immediately better, and they can grab a wide receiver later. But they might disagree, grab Brian Thomas here, and then get a cornerback in the second round, and I could definitely see that happening.
Yeah, and the reason why we have either Cooper DeJean or Brian Thomas going here, but we lead Cooper DeJean is because Chris Ballard just loves freak athletes, and
Yeah.
both of them are just freak athletes. So
Yes.
they definitely need that secondary help, and I think it makes sense.
Yeah, and the versatility too, like we said. You know,
Yeah.
if they need help in the back end, he can help on the back end. He can help.
Yeah,
play
he
in the
can play
slot.
safety. He
Yeah.
can play boundary corner. He can play slot corner. Like he can play everywhere on the field. So, yeah, I
Exactly.
think he makes a ton of sense. Ran super fast as pro day too. And then we got the Seattle
Yep.
on the clock.
We had them grabbing somebody new. We actually
Yeah.
had something different for them a couple times in a row now. It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
But yeah, we had Byron Murphy heading to the Seahawks. I think
that's
that
right.
we want to pair him up with their newly signed defensive tackle. Because what they ink him to a 3-year deal.
Who?
Leonard Williams, right?
I think it was 2 or 3. I don't
yeah,
know which one
but
it was.
either way, they're gonna get 2 absolute dogs in the middle of the D line. I think Byron Murphy's a great player, and that's gonna kind of give them an identity outside of their cornerbacks now to help with their defense. And we had quite a few different people going to them: guards, edge rushers, and
It's mostly just
and we had a cornerback going there too one time, didn't we?
no.
I can't remember.
It was just Fautanu mostly,
Yeah.
and Jared Verse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Jared versus. the
But
other one.
I think Byron Murphy makes a ton of sense because he can play. He's obviously good to play nose tackle. He's
Yep.
playing over Tavondre Sweat, who's an absolute monster of a man, and he can play anywhere on the D line too. He can play in a 4-3. He gives you so much versatility, and that's exactly what new head coach is it Mike McDonald? It's not Mike McDonald, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike McDonald. I always get him and then Mike McDaniel like confused. Like there's all too many Mikes and Mix, and it's stupid, bro.
Double M's.
Yeah,
not a
the
fan.
double M confuses me, bro.
But yeah.
The thing that he always had was a really good like run stuffing interior defensive lineman. Jesus Christ, got it out. So that's exactly what Byron Murphy is. Like we saw it with Justin Matabuike last year, absolutely insane season, and Byron Murphy is exactly that. So
I think it's going to make a lot of sense, and I could also see him going a little higher up. I was talking to you about this actually before the draft. That I think maybe the top tier defensive talents are going to go higher than a lot of people are thinking, just because they're so thin in those places. And Byron Murphy is somebody that I could see possibly going closer to the top 10.
Yeah.
But Seahawks fans are going to be super happy with this. And then I believe we had Terry Arnold going to the Broncos, right?
That's right.
Okay, yeah. And I think that the Broncos are going to be happy with this as well because, like we said, I think Quinny Mitchell's our tier 1 no matter what, but Terry Arnold's very close. So to move back, get some extra picks, and still get a nice corner to pair up with PS2, I think that's going to be sweet.
Yeah, I mean, they need so much that it's so hard to predict what they do here, but I think Terry Arnold is probably the best player available at a position of need as well, so it just makes a ton of sense.
They need a corner. When we were looking at their lineup,
it's bad.
I think, what was he, 126 out of 127?
Yeah, according to PFF, their second best corner
and that's,
is 126 out of 127.
Take that with a grain of salt, but if you're giving him plus 30, he's still like bottom half of the, bottom 25% of the league.
Yeah.
So anyway, Bengals, we've had this happening a couple times, except for when the Bears moved up for Johnny Newton, but we're heading them straight to the Bengals.
Yeah.
They need that interior defensive line. We've kind of gone over this. They had
DJ Reed.
DJ Reed.
Or DJ Reed or DJ
It's Reader, isn't it? Yeah. DJ Reader walking free agency. So they need help on that interior line, and I think that this is like right in that spot where both of these tackles are going to be available.
Yeah, I think that Byron Murphy could also follow this spot, and they just take whichever one they want. I don't know which one they would prefer, but they're both going to be awesome. And then the Rams are pissed because they want one of them.
Yes.
But
they're going to settle.
Neither of them are on the board.
Yep. They're going to settle for more D-line help, which I think makes a lot of sense, and they're grabbing Jared Verse here.
Yeah.
And kind of like I said, this 4-pack of defensive linemen here... 3-pack of defensive linemen could move way up, in my opinion. But I think that with the way that we kind of had the offensive players more prioritized, they dropped them into this like late 20 spot. And I think all 3 of those spots are really nice.
How many defensive players in a row is that?
That was a
just
nice
5?
run. Okay. Yeah, just 5 in a row. Yeah, because we had 2 tackles back to back. But yeah.
And the Steelers go with Nate Wiggins. No. I would be pissed. I would be so pissed if we take Nate Wiggins. I'll tell you guys that right now. You can clip this. I will be so fucking pissed. I will be so mad, bro.
We'll have to get the phones out of the lockbox just
I'll
to
probably
record your
cry.
reaction.
I'll probably cry. I'll seriously probably cry.
Anyway,
but I don't think
what we hope is happening instead of the cry.
We're going to keep it positive, bro.
Yeah.
We're going Amarius Mims.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would cry happy tears, bro. Because then Amarius Mims goes back with Georgia quintuple now.
Oh.
Because George Pickens, Darnell Washington, and Broderick Jones.
Oh, that's right.
I said in reverse order than importance, but that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, George Pickens is the most important. Broderick, though. But yeah, I mean, he wants to go back with his Georgia boys. Bring the Bulldogs to Pittsburgh, baby. Come on now. I'm serious, bro. I would be so hyped.
No, I mean, it makes... It's kind of it seems simple, right? But if you just get players who won national championship in college...
It usually works out pretty well.
They're probably good, right?
They're probably pretty good. There's reasons that they won.
Anyway, I have no idea who we had the Dolphins taking. Was it Latu? It was
Fontana.
Right?
It was
Fontana. Yeah, that makes sense. I was thinking. I was thinking Graham Barton, but
I think Graham Barton makes sense too. But I think Fontana
getting a real solid left tackle. That's what they need right now, and that's going to be a great move. And then
he can play anywhere on the line. The thing with Trey Fontana is I think that he's going to play anywhere on the line. And whenever Teron Armstead gets injured, because obviously he will get injured in the season like he does every year, then they can kick him out to left tackle.
Right.
But while Teron Armstead is healthy, he can play anywhere on the line.
He's always just playing at elite level, and then he gets injured and then comes back and is elite again.
Yeah.
It's an anomaly. But It makes a lot of
Anomaly.
sense, and I think Fontana is a great prospect. They'd be really happy if he falls to 21. I could also see him going a little bit higher, possibly.
Yeah,
Nate Wiggins to the Eagles, if I remember correctly.
that's right.
Yep. Yeah, I think they need a defensive back. I've been said that. I could also see the Eagles maybe trading up to 12, which I think we mocked that, didn't we, one time?
We did one time.
I
yeah.
do think that the Eagles could be aggressive to maybe try and get Quinion Mitchell here.
I do too.
Or, wait, no. We gave them Kool-Aid. Shit.
We did give them Kool-Aid. We'll switch it. We'll just switch it.
Yeah. We can't.
No, I'm saying we'll just. They're gonna take Nate Wiggins, bro.
Yeah.
They're gonna
All
take Nate Wiggins.
Whatever. Makes sense to me. Hey, it actually could happen too. Howie likes athletes too. So we had Latu going to the Patriots now, right?
Yes.
Yeah. They need that
Yeah.
defensive line help. It's definitely. I think Latu. He's an amazing player in my opinion, but it's really I think going to be about GM philosophies on injuries, and that's kind of just it. So if they feel like they can keep him healthy and he can come in and be a productive player, they're going to grab him, and I think they'd be pretty happy with those two guys as well as the first next year.
Yeah, I think the trade down definitely worked in their favor because Leontu Latu, I mean, taking him all the way down at 23 is probably going to be a steal. If he can reach his ceiling, then it's an absolute steal, obviously. But you can say that about any player.
Yep.
But
who did we have here?
Graham Barton, I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
I think Graham Barton went to the Packers.
No, Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah, that's right, to the Cowboys.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Jerry is not letting Brian Thomas.
That was what we were saying.
That's what it was. Yeah.
If Jerry Jones sees a 6'4" receiver that can run as fast as Brian Thomas Jr. and just led college football in receiving touchdowns, I don't think Jerry Jones on his mega supervillain yacht is gonna.
He's calling it down.
Yeah.
He's got a direct line. But yeah, I'll go on record and say that this is probably the one that we're gonna get wrong. He's gonna go a little earlier than this.
Yeah, like you were saying earlier, someone will probably. Oh, that is hell. We're watching the Magic game right now on the other screen, and Jalen Suggs is grabbing his knee. So that's hell for us Magic fans.
Maybe Graham Barton to the Packers.
Yeah.
So I think that is probably one of the most. They're grabbing offensive line as well.
Yeah, they have to. They have to.
Same with who did I just? Yeah, the Saints grabbing tackle. I think it's that level.
It is that level, but
linemen.
they never do draft offense. Like they've drafted defense like every year since Jordan Love, and then before that it was like since 2012.
Yeah.
But they need to do it though.
Mm-hmm.
Like they need to change. Like
I feel like with how much luck they've had with players who can move across the line, I think that his versatility is going to be appetizing to them in general.
Yeah, if he's still on the board, they have to lock that in.
Yeah.
But Bucks here, they always have a ton of ways to go. But JPJ, they need.
We were looking at their guard and center, and they need this.
They were. I'm pretty sure.
Need this bad.
I know they were last year dead last in rushing yards. I think they were the last year Brady was there too, though.
Jeez.
So I think that's 2 straight years with definitely bottom 5 rushing. I'm pretty sure it was dead last.
That's crazy.
So they definitely need. And Ryan Jensen just retired. Jackson Powers Johnson makes too much sense.
He's going there, and it makes a ton of sense. And this is where we had Nate Wiggins go in, but now we're gonna have Kool-Aid. And Kool-Aid would go from one crimson to the another. You know? That is sick.
Some red Kool-Aid to some red Kool-Aid.
Yep, exactly. And so the Cardinals, I think, really need wide receiver and cornerback help. I've kind of said that since the beginning. I think that should be their 2 priorities. And I absolutely love Kool-Aid McKinstry, so I think that they would be so happy with MHJ and Kool-Aid at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Or Nate Wiggins, like we said.
Okay, I'm going to ask you something as a Bills fan.
Uh-huh.
If Kool-Aid's there at 28, would you be okay taking him over a receiver?
Oh, I'd love it.
You'd love it.
I don't know if I'd love it, but...
I mean, you'd instantly be your cornerback 1, right?
No, not over Russell Douglas, but easily CB2.
So
easily
he's still,
CB2.
starting, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
On the other side, for sure.
But with the Bills...
This is a deep cornerback, and that's... I definitely think it's possible that the Bills go home on draft day 1 with a corner, not a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And especially if A.D. Mitchell ends up getting drafted higher up, which is also a possibility.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think this is a deep wide receiver and corner class, so as long as they do some kind of mix of those in the first 4 of their picks, I think I'm going to be happy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But in this one, Kool-Aid is not available.
He is not.
And A.D. Mitchell is.
That's our boy, and we've been drafting him here since like the second or third iteration because we
Yeah.
had Troy Franklin in the first one, if I remember correct, because that's all
For
I was
sure.
hearing.
Yeah.
And I like Troy Franklin too. Don't get me wrong, but I think AD Mitchell just is a major athlete. Bills need a field stretcher, and he is also loves catching touchdowns. So that sounds like exactly what we want.
Yeah, it sounds like what you need, and that is shambles right there. But awesome. Jalen Suggs being helped off the court, crying. That sucks. But the Lions are on the clock, and they usually pick top 10. And for the first time in a long time, they
Yeah.
pick all the way at 29.
Had some gas, and it's your boy.
It's my boy. I was saying this to Austin. If the Steelers, chop, 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 chop. If the Steelers didn't need, like, if the Steelers needed edge, I would honestly love if they took Chop at 20. Like, I could see Chop going before 29.
If they get him in the second, would you cry?
We just don't need edge, bro.
So
But, like, I would love it. If he fell to us in the second,
Yeah.
I wouldn't complain,
Grab
bro.
him.
Because if he's there, he's easily the best player on the board. Like,
Mhm.
I think he's been the best player on the board for some picks now. But
Yeah, you're big on him.
Yeah.
I'm not that large
I'm a-
on Chop
I'm a
Robinson. This is a
big-
Jared guy.
this is a my
This
guy.
is a Jared
this
guy
is a
right
hashtag.
here. Yep.
My
I know Jared
guy.
believes in Kool-Aid too, but Kool-Aid's my guy. I don't know if
Yeah.
he's a first round talent or not, but I believe in it.
Who, Chop?
No, Kool-Aid. And Chop.
I'm in on Chop, baby. but yeah, I think he would be awesome in the Dan Campbell offense or defense. I'm sorry. With Aiden Hutchinson on the other side, like that is insane. Caleb Williams is pissing his pants seeing that.
Yeah, that's some scary stuff for sure.
Yeah.
And I think that it makes a lot of sense. You know, they need edge, they need cornerback, and I think they need one more guard because they lost. Gosh, who was it that they lost in free agency? I can't remember. I think they might have even lost their center, but I honestly can't remember. I know they lost one of their interior O linemen, so look for them to grab one of those. And if Graham Barton is here, I think that's a slam for them as well, possibly.
Yeah, but I don't see him.
I don't see him going to
falling
29
that far,
either.
Yeah.
So Chop would be sweet. And I'm hyped to see it, man. It would be really sick for him to go to a team like this where he can excel.
Yeah.
Because he's going to have somebody on the other side kind of taking the pressure off of him. And then as far as the Ravens go, they need to tackle horrifically bad.
They need a lot.
Yeah, and so
But
they have their left
tackle
tackle locked up. So we had them grabbing Tyler Guyton, which I think we had before as well. But it makes a lot of sense. They need a right tackle. He's a guy who's played a lot of right tackle. He's been proficient at it, and that's been excellent. So, I mean, do you really have a lot to say on that? I think it's really just a great need, and it's kind of just a question of if the guy can play or not.
Nah, it's just like the only thing is Jordan Morgan at first was being, like they were like reportedly in love with him or whatever,
Okay.
but I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like they need so much that I think tackle like Tyler Guyton, he could go earlier than this, so maybe that's why they were just in case they were looking at Jordan Morgan, or
Mhm.
maybe it was just smoke. But I think if Tyler Guyton's on the board, they take him. But here we go. You were teasing this
Yeah.
earlier.
This is what we did, right?
I honestly don't
Or was it
remember.
this? I have no idea. It's going to be... These are the main picks that matter.
The Raiders are trading up.
Yeah, Raiders are trading up, yeah.
I think
They-
that makes sense,
yeah.
though, what you just did. Yeah.
And they might want more, like, put more late draft shit in to get, like, a fourth or something. But,
Yeah.
yeah, Raiders are going to lock in their QB at the future. They're grabbing Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah, and they
So-
get that fifth-year option.
Yeah, and this would be sweet. I could definitely see Michael Penix going to the second round, but if a team wants to kind of lock in that fifth-year option, I think that the 49ers make a lot of sense as a trade-back candidate.
Yeah.
They probably would be struggling to pay a first-round draft pick at this point, so like I feel like getting extra seconds and thirds is probably going to be good for their salary cap, and they've shown that they're monsters in the draft, so getting more bullets I think makes sense as well.
Yeah.
I could also see them grabbing Troy Franklin possibly, but maybe they want to use those extra picks and trade back up into the second round
Yeah.
to get him as he falls maybe into the 40s. But yeah, I mean that.
I think Ladd even makes sense there, too.
Yeah,
honestly.
I think either of those they'd be happy with,
Yeah.
and just get another offensive, just make that one of the best offenses in the NFL even better. And,
Yeah.
and I think they're also going to maybe grab some value O linemen. And then as far as the Chiefs go, but I mean Michael Penix to the Raiders immediately would be awesome.
Yeah.
They got some tackle help, so the O line is going to be looking
Yeah.
good. They did lose Josh Jacobs, which kind of sucks, but they have obviously believed in was it Zamir White over there?
Yeah, Zamir
Yeah,
White. And
Zamir
he had
White.
a really good
He did.
year last year.
He
so.
showed some flashes. So I mean, if he can become the guy, get a little help on the running game. They have two pretty good wide receivers. Well, a really good wide receiver and a good wide receiver in Devontae Adams and Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
And then Michael Mayer was showing some flashes a little bit last year as
He
well.
looks
So,
pretty good.
combine all of that with I think Michael Penix is a really good quarterback, and if he can stay healthy and stay upright, this might be a good move, but the Raiders could definitely wait till the second round for this as well.
Yeah, I could see it. It just depends on how good they feel about Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. Like
Right.
they can say they love Aiden O'Connell as much as they want. I don't buy it. Bro.
And I also don't Gardner Minshew's going to start a couple games this season, I'm sure, but he's
Yeah.
not the long-term answer.
Exactly.
And he might even start the whole season, but he is not the long-term answer.
Exactly. And neither is Aiden O'Connell. I'm sorry. I was in for like a little bit. It was fun, but it's like when Jimmy was like getting benched and
Right.
stuff, it was fun to believe in Aiden O'Connell,
Yeah.
but it's over.
And
bro.
here,
He's bad.
I'm glad Aiden O'Connell, hope you earn millions riding a backup, getting chances.
Me
maybe,
too, bro.
Maybe,
You earned
maybe
it.
you get a hot start, go into a playoff game. That would be sick, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think that they've seen enough to know that he's not quite the long-term answer yet. If he is, that'd be sick. He can obviously grow and develop, but I think at
No,
this
prove
point,
me wrong, bro.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong.
yeah, there you go. All right. With that said, on to the Chiefs, and they need to tackle because Orlando Brown is gone and held a lot, right?
And Jawan Taylor is false start
machine.
machine.
So
Give me those.
Jordan Morgan, I think, is considerably better than the rest of these tackles. I've got to be honest, I really have done work on like the top 50 prospects and kind of haven't done much other than that. So I've seen this guy, but I have no idea who these people are.
Kingsley Mataia is a big project.
Okay.
He's barely really played, and so is Kieran Amakin.
Right, and I think
forget
Jordan
how you
Morgan
say
is the
his
most
last name.
complete prospect, and coming off of 2 Super Bowls back to back, you probably want the offensive tackle that has a chance to start this year.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, and yeah, they could use wide receiver. It's probably not going to load.
I
Wait.
Oh, let's go!
Everyone's like, why are they so excited? This always happens.
Trust.
But
I wonder if this one went.
It's still going.
Cooked.
It's still going.
Yeah, that's sick,
hilarious.
Man. Look at this thing.
But we got this one first try. Let's go.
I'm
This was the
very-
real one then.
I'm very
Nate Wiggins
curious-
is going to the Eagles.
There you go. I'm very curious to see how our draft, because we're also doing a draft pool, so
Yeah.
I'm very curious to see what we go from on this one.
Yeah, because there's no way that we have. So we're doing a draft pool with some of our other buddies, and we're all like predicting how the first round will go. And if you have the same one as me, bro, I'm coming for you.
Now I'm gonna look and make sure that I'm change yours.
You're gonna change mine. Yeah, great. I'm gonna screenshot
Sick.
it before that happens.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You
this is
won't.
our mock.
Yep.
I actually will screenshot it because I don't trust anybody. But hopefully Mary Swims goes to the Steelers.
Yep.
Hopefully, the Bills get AD Mitchell. That'd
Yep.
be
Or
sick.
Kool-Aid. God, I get a McKinstry jersey the day of.
Oh,
AD, I'm waiting for, but I would literally break my phone out of whatever we end up locking it up and get it ordered immediately. Day 1, 2-day shipping.
you're literally buying the one they give them at the draft.
Yep. Exactly. But not
Biggest fan.
This is spicy, and we are going to be
Yeah.
screaming if the Jaguars trade up for 12.
Bro, I will
We're gonna be
literally.
screaming, or
We're going
or
up-
the Raiders too.
We're going over to Omar's house,
Mm-hmm.
and if that happens, bro, his neighbors are getting woken up, and they're gonna think that we murdered somebody.
Hey!
Yeah,
We were right.
I'm punching holes in his walls.
Oh,
We were right. Just fighting a wall.
man.
But,
yeah, either way,
that would be sick.
I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss getting the mock draft Mondays in until next week. But we'll have a lot of recap stuff to do. We'll probably come back on Monday and then go over the first round, second round. Maybe we'll split it up between divisions. We'll talk more about that. But
Yeah.
either way, last mock draft Monday. Congrats on the draft season, bud.
Dude, I'm
We
so
did it.
excited. It's
It's
draft
time.
week.
That's
It's draft
right.
week.
I mean, it's literally 3 days from right now.
Yeah.
That's when
Well,
we'll be counting down.
3 days and like 23 minutes.
Right.
22 minutes.
Yep.
But yeah, it's this week. It's this week. And yeah, after, like Austin was saying, we'll be doing other mock drafts and stuff for like
Do some recap. Do some
recap.
actual fantasy football mock drafts
some
now.
fantasy football mock drafts.
Yeah.
So mock draft Monday isn't completely dead. It's
Yeah.
just dead for like the NFL
Mhm.
draft. Well, not dead. This is the last one, so it's
Right.
still alive.
It's gonna be asleep.
It's gonna be dead in like a couple minutes.
It's gonna be slumbering for a couple weeks, and then as we get closer to July, June, August, we will be digging into the Dynasty coffers and get it going.
That's right.
All right, that's it. Take it easy, y'all.